YouTube, it's your guy, not your average trucker, man, coming to you on a Monday, ecstatic. Got my Panthers gear on. The Carolina Panthers pulled out a historic, heroic, all the big words you could think of, man. A fascinating victory yesterday against the Philadelphia Eagles. I ain't gonna lie, I spent 99% of the game going back and forth with people on Twitter about just how terrible my Panthers was performing. Over the years since Ron Rivera has gotten there, 2011, him and Cam came same year. One thing we always had was a pretty good defense, even before Luke Kuechly, but definitely since Luke Kuechly. We've always had a good defense, but our last two defensive coordinators, they were promoted, and they ended up getting hired by other teams. So this year we have a new D coordinator, and he's just not aggressive, man. He's calling in a lot of zones, and it's just our defense hasn't been good, and that continued to be the case. I mean, Philadelphia was moving the ball up and down the field yesterday with absolutely no resistance. It was them that actually took their foot off the gas, and they had that 17-0 lead, and they just pretty much tried to coast. And it wasn't us stopping them necessarily. I mean, true, we stopped them that last play, and it was BS because Reid, I know he was a little emotional during the game because him and Malcolm Jenkins don't really see eye to eye about that kneeling issue, and Malcolm Jenkins is a sellout, whatever. But he actually has an interception on that final drive. Clear as day. I'm watching the game, on a big TV. Clear as day, he caught it. His hand was under it. They go to the review booth, and when they're in the review booth, that's the main office in New York that's deciding whether or not to go with the sticking with the call or overturning it, blah blah blah. And they decide to overturn it. And I thought that was, I'm a conspiracy theory person, I guess. But I thought that was some BS that they overturned that interception because it was called an interception on the field, and there definitely wasn't enough evidence in the video to say otherwise. But somehow they managed to, overturn it or whatever. So I'm sitting there like, what? Because Eagles was in the red zone. Now it's like fourth down, so I'm like, oh snap, third down maybe, and I'm like, oh snap, this would be when they throw it in there and get a touchdown, win the game. But anyway, I mean, because up to that point, Cam was playing like hot garbage. Looked like me and my son out there, trying to take on the NFL team. I don't know what's good with Cam lately, but he wasn't looking that good. So I'm basically on Twitter all day like, man, we need to fire Eric Washington, which is our D coordinator, because he's not ready for prime time. He was like a defensive line coach last year. He needs to go back to doing that because he doesn't have what our previous two coordinators had, which is what ended up getting them head coaching jobs. One is in Buffalo, the other's in Arizona. But, as a fan, you don't have no choice but to stick it out. So, I won't gonna turn the TV off, so I'm watching the game. Then finally, the Eagles start playing a little prevent defense. I never understood why teams do that, man. You got the lead. I mean, I know that backfired on Atlanta in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. They were aggressive all game, and then that aggression bit them in the ass later. But they were aggressive on offense, not defense, Defensively, if you got that lead by blitzing and playing tight man coverage, do that shit, do that the whole game, B. You don't go to playing some prevent zone mess and letting teams come back. Next thing you know, we haven't been able to move the ball all game. Next thing you know, they go into that prevent defense. All of a sudden, we moving the ball. Boom, we score. We missed the extra points, and that's 17-6. But they're like, hey, we ain't really worried about them. They offense come out, don't do nothing, punt it back to us. We go down again. Boom, score again, and get the 2-point conversion. So next thing you know, it's 17-14, and they still not respecting us. I mean, say what you want about Cam and Luke Kuechly, but they have been to a Super Bowl before. Yeah, we play like hot garbage in the actual Super Bowl game, but you can't treat us like we not winners or like we don't know what it takes to walk up out of there with a dub. Because we played the Eagles last year, and the only reason they won last year, they couldn't move the ball at all on us. And Cam had threw a couple picks last year, but then Luke Kuechly got hurt, and then our defense just like went to we just crumbled after that. Next thing you know, they score ball game. That was the case last year. But this year we got Luke the whole game. Great white hype. I love me some Luke Kuechly, man. So needless to say, my homeboy I grew up with, he's a diehard Eagles fan. He's been rubbing it in my face randomly since February. Every chance he gets, he brings up the fact that they won the Super Bowl. It could be completely irrelevant to our current conversation, but he throws it in my face. We Super Bowl champs. So it felt really, 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 really good to beat them yesterday, man. I mean, it felt awesome. You understand? Back to my man Eric Reid. I did a previous video. I was ecstatic when we signed him. I'm still ecstatic to have him on the team because he deserves to be in the NFL. However, man, listen, dude, you gotta control your emotions, B. It's a lot of us feel the same way you feel. It's a lot of us that don't think that Players Coalition actually had Kaepernick and them best interests at heart, But just because you see Malcolm Jenkins and he's the head of the Players Coalition and you think he's an Uncle Tom or whatever, that ain't the place, man, because they already looking at you with binoculars, man, every week, magnifying glasses, all that, just to see if, hey, is he still kneeling? Or, hey, is he going to be, controlled, or is he going to be a loose cannon? Because that's what they think. They think him and Kaepernick or these loose cannons that if you bring into a locker room, they're going to destroy the locker room, when that's not the case. It was initially a peaceful protest. You understand? Kaepernick went out here getting in confrontations with people. But now you got Eric Reid. I get it, man. You upset. Dude sold y'all out. Dude signed this deal with the NFL that y'all didn't necessarily agree on. I get it. But there's a time and a place, man. Which is what everyone's argument is already about you kneeling and not kneeling in games. But needless to say, man, we caught a dub yesterday and I'm excited. So that's what it is. I got one of my other trucks pulling up. And he probably gonna look at me like I'm crazy. I'm sitting there talking to a camera. But it's your guy, not your average trucker. Let me go see what my employee need. I'll holler at you.